Good morning. Good morning. How are you? It's good to see you guys. Jump on in. It's Friday. Oh my gosh, you guys, this week actually went by really fast. That's not normal. Did it go by fast for you? I would love to know. And if you're on the replay, let me know. I always like to know who's on the replay and then let me know where you're coming in from. That's always so much fun. Man, people from like South Africa and Australia and like all over the world jump in. And it's just so much fun. The UK, talk to y'all in the UK. And anyway, it's just very, very fun. So today we're going to talk very specifically about sabotaging your weight. Well, I mean, you might not mean to be sabotaging your weight, but you're frustrated and maybe you have been eating keto foods and it's not working. It doesn't work for me. I hear that a lot from people. I tried keto and it didn't work for me. But when you're insulin resistant, the game changes. It's a little different. And so you have to just recognize that tweaking it in a good way, tweaking it, like, how do I say this? When done properly, you can tweak it and you can get way different results. And I'm going to teach you that today. So that's what we're going to do. Good morning, Carol. How are you? Good to see you. Good morning, Terry. Oh my gosh, it's good to see you guys. Very, very good. Jump on in. Thank you for liking, Ruthie. You know how much I appreciate that. TikTok is like, it's a different universe over there. So don't forget, I'm taking names. I'm putting people on my VIP list. If you want in on the Longevity Clinic Zoom, it's an hour long. It's Wednesday night. It's 7 to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's invite only. You have to reach out to me in order to get the Zoom link. There's not going to be a replay, you guys. Like, this is for our business team and for customers and business team. You don't have to be my customer to join in on this. It's going to be very beneficial for you. And basically this guy is like, he's an expert. He's an expert in all the things that I talk about for your gut health and for your insulin resistance. And it really will help you to like take December to a different level and go into January with a different perspective. And you know what? We're like, we want a long life, but we don't want a long life with like poor health. Like, that stinks. So what are the actual factors of longevity, et cetera? Just reach out to me and I will get you a link for that. I'll put you on my VIP list. I do not have the links yet. So that's Wednesday, December 18th. And I'm very excited about that. That's going to be very good. You know how we talk a lot about gut health and everything here. So here we go. All right. So today, let's get into it. We're going to talk about at 3:00 in the group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. It's recipe day. It's our recipe day for the 5-day challenge. So if you're in the group, don't forget. And if you are on my email list, I'll probably send you out the recipe. So like, hopefully you said yes to giving me your email when you got into the group so that I can send you things like that. Makes it easier for people to like file things. Anyway, one of the biggest mistakes that people make when they are insulin resistant and they're trying to lose weight has to be following the marketing river. We are so lied to and duped all the time. And you know what? I'm sorry. I understand. This is very frustrating, but it's been this way for decades and decades and decades. And now these companies that have told you that you should have 9 to 11 servings of grain a day and that Cheerios is heart healthy. Good morning, Claudette. Good to see you. And all of these lies that they've told you, now what they've done is they've jumped on the keto bandwagon and they just put they slap keto on everything that they sell, hoping that you'll just buy it and that you'll actually believe it's going to help you. But when you are insulin resistant, this is not truth. Okay. So why? Why is it not true? Because you have to, good morning, Magda. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Good to see you. Because when you're insulin resistant, you have a different goal than everybody else has. You have a different direction that you have to take. Okay. It's not a bad direction. It's not a restrictive direction. I know people would say that maybe it is, but it's not. It's actually, there's freedom inside of this universe. There's so much freedom. You just don't know it until you tap into it. And so everything that I put into my mouth, good morning. Good to see you. Tell me, okay, just remind me. Okay. Because obviously I know your handle. Tell me your first name because I have you down for my VIP list, right? For the for the the Zoom, the 1 hour Zoom. And I'm like, oh, I have to write down who it is. And of course I'll know it the minute you tell me. Anyway, everything that I do is through the lens of insulin resistance. Shireen, hello. Thank you. I'm like, I know who it is. I know who it is. I know. Thank you. Okay, very good. And if you do not change the way you're viewing things, you'll do things the same way that you've always been doing them. And then doggone it, is it not just the most frustrating thing ever? Like, I used to be able to count points, or I used to live in a calorie deficit, or I used to get on the elliptical machine and fat would melt off of me and blah, blah, blah. It's not the same once you're insulin resistant. So how does this happen in your body? It looks like Zoom has or TikTok has a filter on me today. And I'm like, why do you, I don't even get that. I don't think so, but it looks weird. Anyway, maybe it's the brightness of my light. It's like, I'm so bright. Anyway, when you eat a diet that is high carbohydrate and is over a long period of time, what happens is you keep on spiking your sugars. And when you keep on spiking your sugars, your body can handle it for a certain period of time. It's like, no problem. I got you. I got you. Your pancreas releases insulin. It grabs the sugar, it puts it into, and I'm talking about no matter what you eat, turns into glucose. That's not a bad thing. That's a normal biological process. And it puts it into your cell. Your cell are like little storage units all over your body, storage units everywhere. Next time you drive past a storage unit building on a highway and you see all of those storage units, there's a key on every door, right? There's a lock on every single one of those doors. Think of your cells in your body. There you go. And it's trying to get glucose into your cell, into the storage unit, because inside of that storage unit will give you energy. And then you can like feel good, and you're firing on all of your, synapses, and you're firing on all of your cylinders, and you feel good. But once it gets too stuffed, think of like a sausage stuffer. It's shoving it in there and shoving it in there, and it's insulin and sugar, insulin and sugar, insulin and sugar, right? After a while, the storage unit, your cell goes, we're done. Like, excuse me, you were never supposed to stuff me this full. So now we're done. Now you are exhausted. That's what happens. Now you're exhausted and you don't have the energy that you need to function. You're not firing on all cylinders anymore. And now things are happening inside of you that you don't even know are happening. Okay. Number one, your insulin is still going up because your body's like, I got you. I'm just going to make more insulin. I must not have made enough insulin. That's what the problem is. And so it releases more and more insulin from your pancreas. That equals high inflammation, You might be developing fatty liver and you don't even know it. Or maybe you have been diagnosed. And you're like, what is going on? Maybe you've been diagnosed with PCOS. Maybe you get gout in your feet and you never really understood that connection. Maybe your belly's growing, just belly's growing. And you're like, what is wrong with me? Does this mean that this is what it looks like to get old? Is this what it looks like to just have bad metabolism? Like everybody gets bad metabolism, right? Like this is normal. And you start to have all these thoughts that there's no going back now. Oh man, I should have been thankful for my 20-year-old body. I should have been thankful. Man, I thought I was fat. I thought I had, like whatever. I was really hard on myself at that size and I should have never been. And okay, Sarah, this is it. But the problem is that the medical issues begin to compound. So if it was only about fat, and if we were only ever talking about a jean size or whether or not your thighs are bugging you or like, the back fat, and if we were only ever talking about like vanity metrics on our own body, that would be one thing, but it's so much bigger than that. And so that's why even I talk about that longevity clinic, because everybody wants to live a long time, but we don't want to live a long time without quality. My mom lived to 94, but her last 5 years were dementia. It's not quality, right? Okay. So having said that, when I talk about food, I'm talking about Everything you put in your mouth, the question has to be, how much will this spike? How much glucose is this going to give my body to deal with by releasing insulin and getting that into my storage units, which are now closed? All those storage units that you're seeing as you're driving down the highway, they've all got locks on them. That's what has happened when you're insulin resistant. Insulin used to be the key. They changed the locks. The locks are changed. Can't get in anymore. That's insulin resistance in a nutshell. So you need those locks to open. But if you keep doing what you've been doing, it will never happen. It won't happen because you have to choose to go from insulin resistant. Good morning, Brenda. Good to see you. From insulin resistant to insulin sensitive. That's your goal. That's literally your goal. Okay. Now that you have your goal, how do you do that? Well, I teach 2 things and 2 things only. This is so simple. I'm not saying that it's easy in your mind. I'm not saying that it's easy in your heart when you have emotional connections to food, but I'm telling you the steps are simple. Okay. Targeted supplementation to change the way that your engine is running on the inside and changing out your food ingredients. So this week in the group, during the challenge, we did pantry and fridge. So you can see what my pantry looks like now. I'm still making the foods that I love. I haven't changed the foods that I love. I just make them differently. Okay. So that they're not spiking sugars all the time. So when I tell people I'm grain, sugar, and legume free, with the exception of some peanuts sometimes, people are like, oh my gosh, that's so restrictive. That's not sustainable. Blah, 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 blah. No, what's not sustainable is being sick. What's not sustainable is being on meds, because meds don't heal you. Scripts don't heal you. My dad had a lot of scripts when he died at 63. I'll be 60 next month. I'm like almost the age that he was when he died from type 2 diabetes. So scripts don't heal, right? And you can just get more and more scripts with more and more side effects and more frustration. And then you could, the future that I was facing was my dad basically having more and more medical procedures, more and more surgeries, more and more failing of function, and just having a really icky quality of life. For the last 10 years, his quality of life just took a nosedive. Dialysis and puking, and just wasn't a quality of life. And he basically gave up. He wasn't in the hospital or anything like that when he died. He just got done with a dialysis session, and he sat down at the cafeteria of the hospital, had lunch, signed a check, and had a heart attack. He was done. He was so exhausted. He was so done. His heart was down to like 15%. He was gray. He didn't look good. Still walking around, still driving. Isn't that good to know? You just wanted to pop on and say hi. You're at the clinic and you had a blood draw again for your thyroid. You got to go. Bye, Lisa. You'll watch the replay. Fantastico. Interested in your results, Lisa, by the way. Very interested. We were talking about those last night because I chit chat with y'all in the background. Okay. So much happens then in terms of keto food, and we don't understand why we should not be paying attention to that. We don't understand why would somebody say that it's keto when it's not, or why, whatever. And anybody can make whatever decisions that they want, right? But I'm talking to you about from a position of, I know you want to lose weight, number one. I lost 3 sizes in my 50s after my cycle stopped. I tell you exactly how I did it. I don't hold back any secrets. It's exactly what I did. I used supplementation to change out my engine and how it was working, just like you would go to a mechanic and you'd get your liver functioning again. You'd get your metabolism functioning again. You'd get your sugars down, your insulin down. I did all of it. And then you change out your food, and you just have to now eat real food. But it's so good. It's so good. And there are always hacks and some little shortcuts and things that you can do for sure. But you just can't be listening to what they're telling you. So I'm going to actually, let's see here. My one computer this morning, it's out of memory. I have a tablet on the way, so I should be fine. But anyway, I just thought it was funny. I'm like, oh, well, look at there. Finally, it's like, and we're done tapping out. Okay, so when you're dealing with insulin resistance, primarily avoiding grains are crucial. It's a crucial conversation to have. So you're thinking, oh, but I bought keto tortillas or low carb tortillas or zero carb tortillas or, whatever it is, or keto bread from Aldi's. Or I have this conversation with people all the time. Or in the group, somebody will say, well, I'm gluten-free, but not grain-free. And I'm like, not in my group, not here, because people are really trying to deal with their sugars and their insulin. And if you want actual results, if you want to actually stop the hamster wheel cycle that you're on, you have to make this shift. In my opinion, like this is like one of the first things that I learned from Maria Emmerich was you've got to stop spiking your sugars. And all of this marketing is it's messing with you. And possibly you can lose, weight for a short period of time, but then when it rebounds, you don't know why. And it's just because you're still spiking too much. Grains are not your friend. And it's an insulin resistance conversation. It's what it is. So they are high glycemic. Many grains, especially refined ones like white bread, rice, and pasta, have a high glycemic index. This means they can cause rapid spikes in blood sugar levels, leading to increased insulin production, which exacerbates your insulin resistance. Inflammation. Grains are very inflammatory, particularly gluten-containing ones. They can trigger inflammation in the body. Chronic inflammation is a key factor to insulin resistance and other metabolic disorders, making it important to avoid foods that contribute to it. You guys, inflammation is like the core of everything, like just inflammation. What's the question? The answer is inflammation. What's the question? The answer is insulin resistance. Like, this is just where we are. We have had such a high inflammatory diet for so long, and then we add in over-the-counter meds, and we add in script meds, and we add in seed oils and dyes and preservatives. And like, we just kind of have unknowingly sometimes and knowingly at others treated our body a little bit like a trash can, but then we expect it to perform. Like, why are you not performing for me? And the inflammation, we've got to get down the inflammation. Carbohydrate density. Grains are carbohydrate dense, very much so. And consuming them can lead to excessive carb intake. For someone with insulin resistance, this can overwhelm the body's ability to manage blood sugar, further impairing insulin sensitivity. And remember, what's your goal? Insulin resistant to insulin sensitive. Go from resistant to sensitive. You have to, let's pull it back. Anti-nutrients. Grains contain anti-nutrients like phytic acid, which can interfere with the absorption of essential minerals such as magnesium and zinc. We're so deficient, aren't we? And isn't magnesium like the topic of the day? And I always tell you guys, I will tell you when my magnesium is launching. I will shout it from the mountaintops. But what a simple conversation. I love that. What if we're just deficient in a few things? What if that's a piece of the puzzle? Well, that's a whole lot better than, taking maybe a med that gives you diarrhea and bathroom issues. Like, let's work on the other side. These minerals are vital for insulin function, and deficiencies can worsen insulin resistance. Chemical load. Conventional grains are often sprayed with pesticides and herbicides, which can disrupt the endocrine system and contribute to metabolic dysfunction, including insulin resistance. So avoiding grains can help manage your insulin resistance by reducing triggers, allowing the body to stabilize the blood sugar levels and reduce inflammation. So the question then that I get from a lot of y'all is, what if they're gluten-free? Is gluten-free good enough? What if I just go gluten-free? Well, I'm going to tell you my thoughts on that. So glycemic impact. Gluten-free grains like rice, corn, and certain gluten-free flours like tapioca, potato starch, they can still have a high glycemic index. Corn is a grain and it might be gluten-free, but number one, it doesn't mean it's organic and not sprayed. And number two, it's like they turn it into syrup, people. It's turned into syrup. It's used to fatten cows. Like, Now it is important to know that if you have products that um, you can make a difference if you have things that are non-GMO, those are helpful. Organic, that is helpful. But in terms of spiking sugars, that's the conversation that I'm having with you guys. So they can spike blood sugar levels just as much, if not more, than gluten-containing grains, leading to the same problems with insulin resistance. So there really is no difference. Tomato. Like gluten-free, not gluten-free, grain is grain when you are insulin resistant. Number two, while gluten-free grains eliminate gluten, they don't necessarily eliminate inflammation. Many gluten-free products contain additives, preservatives, and other ingredients that can still promote inflammation in the body. How frustrating is that? Like you feel like you're doing something good, and all this time you've been spending extra money to get gluten-free, and you realize, oh, not only does that not help me because it's still grain, but it's actually worse for me and my inflammation because they're adding things to it. Like, what is happening right now? That's kind of how I feel a lot. Nutrient absorption. Gluten-free grains may still contain anti-nutrients like phytic acid, which can interfere with mineral absorption, affecting insulin function. That's why when I talk to you about the trio, one of the main things that is helping you when you're taking the trio, oh man, there it is the fact that there are trace minerals in here. Trace minerals. So trace minerals, because, hold on, nutrient absorption, still contain anti-nutrients which can interfere with mineral absorption, affecting your insulin function. Like simple. This is the conversation that I love to have. So the trio are 3 supplements that have 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. I started these a little over 10 years ago. So on TikTok, I put up like a pre-picture for you guys. You're welcome. Isn't that lovely? But I did that because you have to understand that. And it wasn't until I began to deal with my deficiency, and to deal with the food noise, and to deal with my metabolism, and to deal with my liver, bring down my sugars and my insulin. It wasn't until I began to make these changes that my body began to respond differently. And then it opened up a window that didn't have food noise in it for me to change out my ingredients and my recipes. And it took me a while. I was slow. I was kind of like turtle. It took me 3 to 4 years, you guys. I was slow to trade out my foods. Is what it is. It's fine. But now I'm more apt, more capable to actually help you with the food piece. That's just the reality. And then chemical exposure is the last one. Many gluten-free grains are also subject to conventional farming practices, meaning that they still carry a chemical load from pesticides and herbicides, which can disrupt your endocrine system. And so the truth is that like this could very much be affecting, when I talk about the good cart, like you want to get a cart from me that have products in it, 3 products, ask for the good cart. That'll get you the trio. The better cart is when we start talking about the gut primer and a probiotic. And the truth with that is so many of you are having digestive issues, and you don't even realize that those digestive issues could very well be because you're consuming grain. You're thinking that being gluten-free is the answer, and it's not when you're insulin resistant, because insulin resistance leads to, who knows the answer to this? Does anybody know what insulin resistance leads to? Somebody can put it in the comments. It leads to leaky gut. So here you are potentially with a leaky gut. You're leaking nutrients. You have high inflammation inside of your gut. You are, you go to eat certain foods, like it could even be greens. Like this holiday season, maybe you're going and you're eating broccoli or cauliflower, cruciferous vegetables, because you know that they're good for you, and you're at a party and you're grabbing those with ranch, and they're just causing so much bloating and discomfort. Or you're eating keto bread, you're eating a keto tortilla, or you're You're thinking that you're doing well because you're gluten-free, or you think you're paying attention or whatever. And it's just really irritating you because grains are very inflammatory. And so this is just challenging if you've already had that precursor of insulin resistance that has created the leaky gut. It's just super, super frustrating. And then you're like, why do I just feel like trash all the time? And I'm tired of feeling that way. And I don't think I can pull up my picture. I don't think I can. I need a laminated picture of my daughter. On my Instagram page, there are highlight bubbles at the top of people's Instagram profiles. And there is one that says gut, I believe gut health. And it is it's the gut primer. There are only maybe like 4 slides in there right now. I don't remember, but one of them is a before and after picture of my daughter. And she took this about maybe a month ago. She had a day of really bad eating. And she got to the end of her day. She's had 3 babies and her gut was just distended. She was like, oh my gosh, I'm so bloated. And she had the presence of mind to take a picture of herself all bloated looking pregnant. And she was like, oh, she's like 32. And she woke up, she said, oh, I am going to take my gut primer. I know we normally take it at the beginning of the day. You take this in the morning. Like I've already taken mine, but I haven't eaten yet. So I already took my primer. I took my probiotic. That's the gut reset protocol. And she's like, I'm going to take mine before I go to bed. And so she did. She took a scoop and she went to bed and she woke up and she went, oh. And then she took another picture. So she has this really amazing before and after picture. It's at the top of my Instagram page. But for any of you that deal with a lot of digestive issues, you deal with a lot of bloating, you deal with a lot of just that kind of frustration. You're like, I just can't seem to get a handle on my gut, my stomach, my digestive processes. Well, that's probably for a lot of different reasons, but I'm going to tell you in my conversation with you, which is insulin resistance is creating that leaky gut. And so we've got to got to simmer down that inflammation. Got to bring it down so that you can actually take a breath inside of your body. Okay. So, so important. This will be talked about at length in that Zoom, by the way, in the longevity clinic. It'll be talked about in length. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Brenda, you said everything. Tell me what you're meaning, because I didn't see your comment. What were you referring? I would love to know. So you mean you're taking everything? I don't know what you mean. I'll wait for you to answer. So a good cart is the trio, the 3 supplements that help with insulin sensitivity. A better cart, you can always ask me for the better cart. That's taking the gut primer and a probiotic, because this is not just a greens product. This is a primer. We're talking digestive enzymes, prebiotic, postbiotic, alkaline spices, fermented greens that are very bioavailable and gentle on your tummy. You can get your greens in a different way that makes your body go, oh. That's kind of how that feels, right? And fiber from the extracts of fruits and vegetables. And I know it looks like a greens product, but it's a primer. And the benefit of that is, let's say you really need your constipation to go away. Maybe your indigestion has just been out of control. And especially at this time of the year, you're like, I am so tired of indigestion. Maybe you are not sleeping well at night, or your energy, you just feel really tired, like you're lagging, like you're bogged down. Well, let's help your liver. Let's get your liver loved on enough so that you can actually, this is like oral health, liver health, metabolism, inflammation, like all of the things. That's what the gut primer, and I love the testimonies. So these two together, this is a better cart. And then the best cart happens to be with the thermogenic. And so some people ask me for that one. So if you need a different track to run on, you can ask me for, whatever. On my, I don't want to get confused with something else that I'm doing on my other socials. This is my verbiage. This is a pixie stick, but it's a clinical dose of a high antioxidant extract. And I'm telling you what, they make the claim that it targets your visceral fat on your hips and your waist. They're not lying. They have a really, really, really good reputation of not overhyping something. Like that's their job, is to make sure that they do not overhype. And it's my job to make sure that I do not overhype, because it's a reputation conversation, right? So if I overhype something, right? And of course I can never make claims. I can never say everything's going to work the same for everybody. Like, I'm not stupid. I understand that people have many, many factors and layers into their facets of life. I understand that. I don't know the scripts that you're on. I don't know the stress that you're under. I don't know the lack of sleep that you're living with. I don't know your history of surgeries. I don't know the trauma that you had in your life. Like, trauma causes a lot of physical issues, right? That's why I take you guys through that. I took you through the book Self-Sabotage No More by Jenny Potter in the group. And the group, you guys, is right up there. I listed it for you guys up there. Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. And I took you through that book so that you could deal with your own unprocessed emotions, right? Because trauma does stuff for people. So there are many factors. And so I don't want to ever overhype something, but I'm telling you, this is a thermogenic. And you'll hear about this also on that webinar on the Zoom, because he'll explain why this does what it does. I have noticed such a decrease in my hips, the narrowing of my hips. I honestly thought that that wasn't going to shift for me. I'll be 60 next month. I just thought, I don't know. You're super narrow when you're a teenager, right? When you're an adolescent. And then when you get to, you get into your 20s and your hormones are doing different things and you have babies and all of that stuff. I don't know. I just assumed that it was like, kind of almost like genetic, and that's just where you carry your weight. But I'm noticing such a significant decrease. And then my husband with his love handles, and I could give you a bunch of testimonies from people, friends and customers, etc. But the best cart would be to have all three in it. The best cart is the trio with the gut reset protocol and the orange pixie stick thermogenic. And it does taste exactly like an orange pixie stick. And I'm not lying. So you guys can always text me up there if you want to. But for you guys, we're talking messenger or get into my inbox. But let me see here. I want to see what she said. Resistance. Oh, insulin. Yes. Insulin resistance leads to everything. Hi, Michelle. Good to see you. I'm so glad you're on today. So glad. Yeah, it does, Brenda. Isn't that just crazy? And if I can get people to understand that, I feel like every day, if I can just get one more person to hear this, that insulin resistance is the very core of everything that's going on in your body. Now, I'm not a doctor and I can't really say everything. Like, if you broke your big toe last week, it probably had nothing to do with insulin resistance. I'm just telling you. But other than that, seriously, you guys, get to the root of the root of the root of the root. We are an insulin resistant fatty liver society. Let's go. Let's run at that reality. Like, let's barrel into that reality, like bust through that brick wall. Stop trying everything else other than dealing with the very core of what could actually help you lose the weight, get your inflammation down, start healing your gut, start getting your body to actually get those engines going again. OMG. And that was a post that I did. I kind of referenced it here just a second ago. Like, I did a post on my Instagram and my Facebook talking about how I remember, like it was yesterday, I remember where I was standing in my yard. I remember the outfit that I was wearing. And I had that fleeting thought. You know how thoughts, like birds, fly over your head and they just kind of drop something into your brain, if you know what I mean, a little bit of trash into your brain, a little bit of stink. And that stink dropped into my brain. And this was the thought. I mean, I'm telling you, you guys, like, I even think like the sky was partially cloudy. It was warm outside. There's green grass under my feet. I know the clothes that I was wearing. And this is the thought that the little thought birdie dropped into my head. I wonder if I should just embrace obesity and type 2. I mean, I am Italian, and everybody, larger picture, they're all obese and they have type 2. Maybe that's me too. And I was probably 38 years old when that happened. And something rose up inside of me just as fast as that thought came. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. Almost as though my body knew that it had a different identity. I don't know if that resonates with anybody, but it was almost like my soul knew that that was not my destiny. Is that too weird to say it that way? I don't know how else to say. I don't know the words to use, but it's almost like I knew inside of me, no, that's not your identity and that's not your destiny. That's not your direction. It doesn't have to be that way. But this all happened within a very short period of time. This was not like I just took 3 minutes to explain that. It wasn't 3 minutes. It was probably about maybe 20 seconds in total. Like the thought came and I just, from a very soul level or maybe from a spirit level, I don't know. I rejected it. And in my rejection, I was able to then like, I don't know. I mean, I certainly didn't change things right away. That's for sure. I certainly didn't make any strides or differences right away. That's for sure. And actually I took, oh, good morning, Melissa. Thank you. She's coming to love on me for TikTok. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And it took me over 10 years then to shift that. Right. But I will tell you that, hold on. I will tell you that when you actually make an internal decision for yourself, you can actually change the way that you move forward, even if you don't have the answers in that moment. You don't have the answers to actually accomplish it. I had no tools in my toolbox, zero in that moment. I mean, nothing. But then as things came along, I did grab them. Suzanne Summers' book came out. Like I grabbed that. I put it on my shelf. I never read it. Things started happening. And when somebody came along and they talked to me about supplements, because I started these a little over 10 years ago, when I started learning about supplements like this, I went, oh, and I all of a sudden started to pay attention because I had made that intention 10 years earlier. Did you know you can do that? Like you can have an intention that gets fulfilled. And all of a sudden you have a heightened awareness when an answer comes to you. You're like, oh, I thought about that one time. And I didn't even believe it was going to work. It's not like, oh, I thought about that and this is my answer. That's not what happened. I kind of went, all right, well, I thought about that and crossed my fingers. That's what I did. So anyway, so I just know that so many people are dealing with the fallout of insulin resistance, and usually it's weight. I understand that more than you know. And basically now I can say those supplements supported me in fully losing 3 sizes in my 50s. And this was after my cycle stopped and my body was going the opposite direction. It's going the opposite direction. Trust me. Within a short period of time, my cycle stopped, and within 9 months, doggone, man, jeepers, just pile on that fat. Before you started this newest journey, Terry, I'm going to read you because I know you are going to have a good testimony. Before I started this newest journey less than a year ago, I had the same thought about accepting being obese. I'm so glad I am learning differently. Terry, I didn't know that. I didn't know you had the same thoughts as me in that arena. Maybe you have done that too. You got your package yesterday, Melissa? You're looking forward to the probiotic. What? Tell me. Hold on. Say it again. To the Nostrus probiotic? Tell me what you're saying. You're so amazing. Thank you so much for the gifts. You're just amazing. I appreciate you so much. That's so cool, Terry. That's so cool. And this is the deal. So Terry is 62. And so what she's saying is that less than a year ago, she started her journey. And I know that you went sugar-free and you went grain-free. And then you added in the trio. You added in these 3 products right here. She added in the trio. And I in this moment, I'm not remembering what all you've been taking. That's okay. Trio is that's a very good start for people. And you've lost 40 pounds. 40 pounds and she's 62. So what happens when you just own that? You just all of a sudden that thought drops into your head, that birdie flies over, the thought drops into your head, and instead of rejecting it full out, you receive it. Then maybe when somebody like myself comes across your Facebook feed, like for Terry, or it comes across the FYP on TikTok, or you already just embraced the fact that it was too late. She could have so easily gone, that's it, I'm 62. Here we go. It's just going to get spread further from here on out. Like, I'm just going to embrace what is. But if you reject the thought that this is just what it is, then you're open. Maybe you're open to an answer that can actually help you go, oh, if I actually have the thought process that I'm insulin resistant, and that if I can bring down my insulin, I can actually lose fat. And if I actually take care of my liver, I can lose fat. Like, because those are the two things that are stopping you. That's why the trio is what it is. The trio is addressing those. It's why she's lost, again, she did both. She condensed the time. I took 3 to 4 years to do my food. She did her food and her supplementation at the same time, and in 8 months lost 40 pounds. That's a different story than mine, which it makes me so happy. You have no idea how happy that makes me, because that tells me, thank you so much for all the likes. I so appreciate you. If I can't help somebody else condense time, like if I told you it was going to take you for sure 3 to 4 years to figure this out, that's not very encouraging, right? And I understand that not everybody's as fast or as, not everybody's the same. And I get that too. But what if you at least just give yourself the permission to have the journey? What if you just give yourself permission to have the journey, and you don't require your body to do gymnastics? You don't require your body to do backflips in its progress, but you just say, listen, I know that I have to bring down my inflammation. I need to bring down my insulin and my sugars, and I need to stop shaming myself, and I need to stop being unkind to myself. And I need to just take a deep breath and allow myself to assess my emotional eating, to assess my triggers, just to trade out one ingredient at a time, one recipe at a time. And where could I possibly be in December of 2025? If less than a year ago, 8 months ago, Terry did that, had somebody told her on January 1st of 2024, in the first few months of the year, you're going to look this way. And then all of a sudden, something's going to click in your brain, and it's going to be like that V8 moment. What? And you're going to make a shift, and you're going to drop 40 pounds. Wouldn't you want somebody to tell you that at the beginning of 2025? Dang, that's exciting, you guys. Anybody, she's 62, anybody can make a shift, because it's a biological conversation. This is a hormonal conversation. It's a biological conversation. This isn't jazz hands, and it's not tricks, and it's not magic. This is about literally doing the maintenance on your vehicle that you should have done a long time ago, but nobody told you to do it, because they just offered you Band-Aids. That's all they did, was they offered you Band-Aids. And you thought that the Band-Aids were the answer, because why wouldn't the Band-Aids be the answer? They're coming from the community of providers and the matrix. They're supposed to tell us everything we need to know. So they give you all these Band-Aids that actually, not only do they not heal, but they can make things worse, not only in your side effects, but in the fact that if you're supposed to be loving on your liver, because your liver is your fat metabolizing organ, and then you're making your liver constantly deal with scripts, how much do you think your liver needs a little help? The question is a lot, or the answer is a lot. So much help. I can't even tell you, every time that, somebody starts a new journey with me, I just get so excited, because I'm like, okay, very good. You got the trio. Ooh, we're going to work on your liver. Hello. Oh, you're doing the gut reset protocol. Oh, yes. You're doing so many good things. You don't even understand what's happening on the inside of your body. You don't even know. Makes me happy. So there we go. Anyway, Terry, thank you for that. That just fires me up. So today at 3:00 Central Standard Time in the group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women, this recipe day for the 5-day challenge. And every month we do a 5-day challenge. This is our 19th one. So fun. And we are basically we're making a white chicken chili, but I made it yesterday and I need to tweak it. So I'm going to tweak it for you guys today and show you the result of that. And yeah, so I'm excited because I love teaching you the fact that you get to love all your food. You get to still be a foodie. It was my biggest concern as an Italian. I thought I had to give up being a foodie. Alas, I did not. How fun is that? How fun is that? And I can teach you the exact same thing. So if you have questions, don't sabotage yourself. Don't stop yourself from asking questions. Information and knowledge is it's just a good thing. It's never a disadvantage to have a little bit of knowledge, to have a little bit of information. It's not a disadvantage. And so you can always reach out to me. I put my number up there for texting because that's an easiest way for you guys on TikTok. And because then we can go back and forth easier. I can actually show you stuff. I can't do that on here. But on Facebook, you know where Messenger is. Instagram, you know where the messages are. Just get into my inbox and we'll chat further. But I would love to help you on your journey. Like if you started now before the beginning of the year, you are positioning yourself so well. And I am going to put together I haven't decided how I want to do it yet. I was talking about it out loud this morning with my husband because I have this idea of how I want it to look, but I need to put together like a protein guide so that when you guys do get started on your journey, you can have tangible in hand help. And so I'm putting that together, and that's separate of the recipe pantry guide that you get tagged in when you get into the group. So it's something else that I want to break down this mystery and this noise of eating all this protein, which is incredibly important and beneficial. But sometimes we feel overwhelmed because we don't know some of the basics. So I want to break that down for you and get things super streamlined and super basic so you have a completely different track to run on. Like the track you've been on hasn't been working, right? And then maybe you're like Terry and you got to the point where she said less than a year ago, she had the same thought about accepting obesity. She thought maybe I should just stay obese. Like maybe this is just my identity. Maybe this is just what it is. Like I'm supposed to just embrace it, like, because I have no other choice. And instead she didn't. She changed the track that she was running on. Now she's lost 40 pounds at 62. That sounds wonderful. I hope you and everyone has a wonderful weekend. You too, Carol. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy. You guys, this is in December. You guys everybody can get out. And even if you're not shopping, you can go to a mall and you can look at look at all of the decorations. Maybe you have some place close to you that has like a Nordstrom's, or for me, it's a Von Mar. I mean, I have both, but I like Von Mar. They play real piano all the time, and the lights are so pretty. And get out and do something that will like just lift you up. And if you're having anxiety, find time to get mindfulness in. Find time to get sit down, read a proverb a day, read a psalm every day, read something that can bring peace to your spirit. Because it can really shift things for you. It can change things for you. Okay. So, all right. I'm so glad you joined me today, and we will see you on Monday. If you're not in the group at 3 p.m. Central this afternoon, I'll see you Monday at 10 a.m. right here on all of my socials. Ask me questions, get into my inbox, and I'd be more than happy to help you. All right. See you guys later. Have a terrific day. Thanks, Terry, for sharing. I appreciate that.